teaching artist with Arts Council Oklahoma City. Hi friends, in this lesson we will be exploring positive and negative space by making Papel Picado banners. Papel Picado is a type of Mexican folk art that means punched paper. They use special sharp tools and hammers to actually punch shapes out of tissue paper to make decorations for special holidays like Dia de los Muertos and other family celebrations. Today we're going to be using construction paper and scissors to cut out our own shapes to make our own banners. For this project you'll need at least 2 to 4 colors of construction paper, scissors, some yarn or string, and either glue or staples. Let's get started. The first thing that we will do is practice our folding and our cutting by having each one of our pieces of construction paper. If you have these nice big pieces, we want to actually turn these into half. So to do that, I'm going to start at the bottom corners and just bring them up to meet the top corners. I use one hand to hold that in place, and if I have a friend, maybe my friend can help me hold that in place. And to drag my hand down to where that fold is and crease it. Creasing just means that I'm putting pressure on that folded line so it stays. I can pick it up and see this is my folded edge now. I'm going to do that with my other 3. And we'll do this folding over and over and over, so let's get good at it now. So now that all of my pieces are folded, I'm going to set that off to the side. Now we can practice our cutting. So we are going to cut along this folded line. We're going to cut the entire folded line. This is the only time we're going to cut the entire folded line though. I'll show you what I mean. Open your paper back up. Get your scissors on nice and secure, and here's how I want you to cut. First of all, hold your paper with one hand. Be really careful that you watch out for your fingers behind the paper while you're cutting. Open up your scissors nice and wide. Still comfortable in your hand, but get them really, really open. Now place that paper in the back of your scissors. Close your scissors and do that again. This is the way to cut when you're cutting especially more than one layer of paper. Makes it much easier. Just cut all along that folded line, and now my piece is half the size. Do this for your other 4 pieces, friends. Okay, friends. I've now got 4 pieces of paper ready to go to make my Papel Picado. Now, if you look at the examples I have up here, you'll notice that there are shapes cut out of the inside of our banners or our Papel Picado flags. This is an example of negative space. Where there isn't anything, that is creating a design because I've removed that shape from the paper. The positive space is where the paper still is. The space around the shapes, that's our positive space. So we're using negative space, what's not there, and positive space, what is there, to create our designs. And let me show you how I did that. We're going to continue folding our paper in half. Go from the bottom corners, bring those corners to meet the top. Really use your eyes and see if they meet up. Hold that in place, drag your hand down to where that fold is, and drag your fingers across that fold, press on it a little bit. Now I've got my open edge and my folded edge. We're going to cut on this folded edge, but we're not going to cut all the way through it, and we're not going to cut all the way across. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to start with a very simple shape, and I bet you'll be able to figure out what shape this is immediately, friends. Cut out a simple triangle right in the middle. Now I want to do some more cuts on either side, but I need to leave a little space from that one, and a little space right there. And I'm not cutting all the way this way or all the way that way. When I open up, I will end up with double the shape. See, I went from triangle to a diamond. This will be our first Papel Picado. Let's make it a little more interesting on the next one. We're going to start exactly the same. Bring your bottom corners up to the top, hold it, drag your hand down, and crease it. Now do that again. We're going to bring that folded edge back up to the top. It's going to be a little harder this time, so you might have a friend help you hold it in place. Really use the strength of your hand and press down on that crease line. Now you've got more than one folded line. I'm going to start on this folded line right here, folded edge. Again, I don't want to cut all the way along or all the way across. And this time I think I'm going to do more of a circle. Doesn't have to be perfect, friends. Don't worry about making your cuts really look like anything. Just have fun and try out some different cuts. But remember, leave a little bit of space in between your shapes and don't cut all the way through. Let's see what that does when I open it all the way up. Double it into that. And now I have shapes on the top and the bottom of my piece, so a little bit more complex. Do you see what happened there? I folded it once, I folded it twice, and now it's inside, so my negative space is in more than one part of my banner. Let's make it even more interesting. We're going to start the same way. You're doing so great. Fold it in half and crease it. Fold it in half again. And crease it. I'm going to do what I did before. Let's do some more triangles. Remember to be very, very careful when you're cutting to watch out for the fingers that are holding your paper. Also remember, when you have a really thick paper like this is where you really want to open up those scissors. Put your paper towards the back of your scissors, that means closer to your hand, and squeeze your fingers together. That gives you a lot more pressure when you cut, so you're able to make much easier cuts on multiple folds in the paper. Got a few cuts here. I'm not cutting all the way across. I'm leaving some space, and I'm not cutting all the way through. This is exactly what we did before. I open it up and I've got these, but I've still got this folded edge right here that doesn't have any cuts on it. So let's experiment and see what happens when we cut on that edge too. I'll do some more triangles. My shapes, my cuts are not going to meet. They can come close, but remember to always leave some room in between all the shapes that you cut out. This creates our negative space. I open it up. This way I've got 3 different rows of negative space cut out, even more complex. We've got one more, friends, and on this one, I'm going to show you one of the things that I really love to add to my Papel Picado, and that is fringe. It's a really, really easy technique. And we're going to do everything we've done so far. Once we get these all cut out, friends, I will show you how to put them on your string so that you can hang them up. Maybe you want to hang it in your room. Maybe you can tape it to a window, put it across your bed. You can ask your grown-ups for good places to put it up. So I've done that side. Now I want to do some more cuts on my other fold. Friends, if you ever end up with more than one piece of paper after you do your cuts, what's happened is that probably some of the cuts have touched each other. I've gone all the way across a folded line, or I've cut too deeply in. That's okay, you can still use that piece of paper and be creative with it. So friends, I've got my last Papel Picado banner cut out, and here's how we're going to add fringe. Take your scissors and be really careful again with your hand that's holding the paper, and do some little snips along that bottom edge of your Papel Picado. Only on the bottom edge. Leave the top edge straight and flat, and I will show you why in just a moment. You'll need it to attach to your banner. Do some little cuts close to each other as they can be. Just be careful, watch out for your fingers. Like that, and I can add fringe to each one of them if I would like. That's my artistic choice. And you see, from all of the negative shapes that we've cut out, we now have our positive space, positive shapes. If I wanted to, I could get very creative and take some glue and even add some of these pieces back on. That would be really, really fun. Friends, feel free to use all of the scrap paper that you cut out for other projects too. Don't ever throw away paper. Now we're going to attach these to our string to make our banner, and I can decide what order I want my colors to go in. That's my creative artistic choice. But what you're going to do is take the top, that clean edge, and fold it down. Just make a little flap. And the flap is maybe about as thick as my finger. You can make yours thicker or thinner, but not too much thinner. Fold each one down, and remember to give it that good crease. Really put pressure on it so it will stay in that shape. One more. Okay, I'm going to line these up in the order that I want them to be. You can either attach these using glue or using staples. I like staples because they're fast and easy, but if you don't have a stapler, you can take your glue stick or glue bottle and just put a bunch of glue inside that little fold, but don't put that flap down just yet. First, you will want to put your string, I guess I'm going to make orange my first one, right where you put that little crease line. And then you'll have to hold it down and count to probably 20. Remember, glue takes time to dry, and the only secret to glue is time and pressure. But we don't really have time for that, so I'm going to staple mine. Staple that little flap down. Make sure that you leave a little tail of your string hanging out so that you can make a knot and make a little loop and tie it onto something if you need to. One staple on one side, one staple on the other. This is a good idea to get a grown-up to help you with your stapler if that's what you're using. Grown-up or a friend, it can be kind of hard to do some of these things on your own, but friends, you are doing great. And I know that your banners are beautiful. Right. Last one. Alright, friends, and from here it's just up to you where you want to hang your banner. Remember, these are really great for parties or celebrations, so if you have a party or a celebration coming up, instead of buying decorations, you can actually make your own, and they can be based on the Papel Picado Mexican folk art. And you know, the word folk art comes from art that is really easy to make, it's really inexpensive, a lot of people can make it, and it usually has some sort of cultural significance. And in this instance, it is Papel Picado, punched paper from Mexico. Thanks so much. I hope you had fun. See you next time.